to talk about the difference between finance, accounting, and bookkeeping, because he has a whole podcast to tell you about it. So you'll listen to his podcast, obviously. But here's a little introduction to Roger. Hey, Roger, how are you?
Very, very good. I appreciate this. This is going to be kind of fun.
I know.
So what do you want to know?
Well, first, tell us about your show.
So it's called Building the Premier Accounting Firm. It happens to be for individuals that are the owners of bookkeeping, accounting, and tax businesses. We essentially work with them to build what we refer to as the premier accounting firm in their area.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So what is an accounting firm? You told me different than finance, different than bookkeeping, but tell me like the differences.
So essentially the difference would be in the finance world, typically you're looking at how do I take the monies I've earned and invest those and actually save them for a rainy day, retirement, and so forth. Accounting is more the tracking of what that consists of. You have your personal finances, but in business, you're trying to create your balance sheet, your income statement. You're trying to, with your cash flow statement, make decisions in an intelligent way. And from an accounting world, we're trying to educate the business owner as to how to use that information purposefully so that they can run their business more profitably.
Wow. And what about bookkeeping?
Bookkeeping. All right. So you're getting into a nice little topic for me.
Okay.
So the easiest thing to understand about bookkeeping is it's intended to actually be the way to record the transactions that are taking place in business so that you can actually have a history of what's occurred that should mirror what the customer or what the business owner is experiencing.
Okay.
So for example, accounting is intended to be the language of business. So it's the way the company is trying to talk to the company owner and say, this is what I'm liking, this is what I don't like, stop doing that, do that some more.
I like that.
And
language.
Yeah. And so what we're trying to do as an accounting profession is be the interpreter. We're trying to be the translator of what that business is trying to communicate so that the business can use that information to intelligently make a business decision.
Fantastic.
So what's happening as it relates to bookkeeping is we're in the process as bookkeepers to actually take all the transactions, record them, and in a timely and accurate way, give that information to the business owner so that they can use that to run the company. Accounting is the next level.
Right.
So that's the next evolution of that.
Got it. And that would be the balance reports, forecasting as well? Like
Yes.
looking for, okay, cool.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
that's now in the accounting space because the
Yes.
bookkeepers prepared the financials.
Yes.
The accountant is now going to analyze, interpret. They're going to dive into the numbers and see what trends are occurring. Is there anything that stands out that we need to give some attention to?
Got it. And so for those that are small business owners that have LLCs, or maybe we stick away from sole proprietorship, but LLCs, what would you recommend, like when they're starting to look at hiring an accountant or for doing their own like accounting? Hopefully they get someone on board, but like what are like the tips that you would give to people who are like an LLC owner?
Well, the first thing I'm going to explain is that everybody needs the numbers to run the business.
Yeah.
Now, the question typically becomes, when can I afford to do this?
Yeah.
I would push back and say, when can't you afford to do this?
Right.
So one of the things you've got to understand is the numbers that are there to help you run the business, which is totally different than when you're in a situation of just preparing the financials on an annual basis to pay taxes.
Yes.
Taxes are a good reason to do the books, but that's not the only reason why you do your books.
Yeah.
You're trying to run the business intelligently, and so you need the financials. So to answer your question as it relates to bookkeeping, what we're trying to do is put ourselves in a position where we're able to say, as a business owner, I have somebody that actually takes everything I'm doing, puts that into the financials, and then helps me kind of on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, see, is the business profitable? The last thing you want to do is end the year and go, did I make anything?
Yes.
Did this work? You're trying to prove your hypothesis, which is your business model is a profitable model.
Got it.
And so the bookkeeper is trying to, as quickly as possible, give you that information for the financials. So we want to use those. So I'm going to answer another question that you might have been asking, which is, when can you afford this?
Yes.
Accounting is typically the first thing that's outsourced by a business to a third party.
Cool.
So generally speaking, you're not going to outsource your accounting your marketing to somebody because you're, as the business owner, most capable of explaining what your product or service is.
Yes.
So you're going to sell it better than anyone else.
Yes.
So you don't want to outsource it, but you're also not going to outsource the delivery of your product or service in the essence of producing it, let's say. So what's that one thing that typically is, I didn't go into business because I wanted to do it? What's the books? It's the accounting, the tax. So generally speaking, that's the first thing that you first recognize. I need somebody other than my spouse, other than my assistant, other than myself, spending the weekend doing the books.
Right.
I need to pay someone to do this. And so that's why the accounting profession steps in and actually fills that void.
Amazing. What is the what's a misconception about accounting that a lot of people have?
One of the misconceptions is that I would assume business owners believe it's only for tax purposes.
Right.
And I'm just going to do the books just because I have to, and I want to get Uncle Sam off my back.
Yeah.
When in reality, the misconception is that the numbers are there to help you more intelligently run the business. I'm hopeful that as a business owner, you engage with your bookkeeper, with your accountant, want the information, use the information, look at the information. And I'll admit, sometimes it's foreign, it's hard to understand, it's in another language.
Yeah, right.
But that's why you have that accountant come in and actually help them explain. Just translate it.
Cool. What's like the one piece of information that they should first ask their accountant for once they have all the numbers in and like their bookkeepers have passed it on to the accountants? Like what should I ask to be translated? What's the first thing?
First thing is, where did all the revenue come from? You should be able to understand where you're making money.
Cool.
So as a business owner, you probably have a variety of products or services you're offering. So where is it that I'm making money? The next question then is how much of that money I'm making is actually going to the gross profit, which is to say, with COGS, you're paying all the immediate costs associated with the product or service.
Yeah.
I want to know, after I've paid the vendors to create that product or service, what do I have now to operate the business with? So that's your gross profit.
Right.
I want to know what percent of the money I'm earning from the bills I'm charging make it to that gross profit line. That margin's hugely important. The next thing is now that I've got the money, from an operating point of view, I want to know how much can I save and have at the bottom line, the net profit. So I have my operating expenses. I'm interested in knowing what percent of that goes to that net income, that gross profit. So these are ratios that you want to manage and watch because it's the lifeblood of the business.
Right.
It
is the business.
It's
not
business.
It's the hobby.
Yes. So all of a sudden, if you're able to understand, okay, if I'm charging $100, but it costs me $20 to create that, I get 80. Can I pay all my bills with 80 and have something left over?
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way to explain, okay, as a business owner, what should I be looking for in the business? The second thing I'd add is the distinction between cash and accrual accounting. Probably too much of a conversation for now, but at the end of the day, it's just what is the difference in knowing that difference?
Okay, and they can know that difference by listening to you, right?
Yes.
On your show. So tell us about where we can find your show. What's the name? Where can we find it?
So obviously I'm going to say it's anywhere you listen to podcast episodes.
Great.
So there you go. But it is called the Building the Premier Accounting Firm. It's essentially where we talk to business owners. We talk to advisors as it relates to how to be successful companies. So although it's directed towards or intended for owners of bookkeeping and accounting businesses, I can definitely tell you that most business owners enjoy the conversations.
Awesome. Roger, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
Indiana, is a pleasure. Appreciate it.
We'll see you guys soon. Bye.